Okay, I'm up. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Silly.
Are you okay?
No. Hi, guys. This is the take 7. Welcome back to Father Knows Something. This is episode 98.
Do you think you'll make it to 98?
Well, we were here. This is 98.
But like age-wise.
Oh, don't ask him that. You're going to give me anxiety.
No.
You're not one of those guys that's like, yep, I'm making it to 100 no matter what.
No.
You don't want like a nice century?
Well, I would love it, but the reality is it's genetics. Genetics is...
Let's just not talk about this. I know.
He's your guy.
I'm mad at him for bringing it up.
He's your guy. I don't lie. You ask me a question. See,
no, you're going to live forever.
I'm going to live forever. Well, I will live forever because as long as that you guys remember me in your heart, you pass it on generation to generation, and I keep my mouth in the mic.
Yeah.
I'll be
You're
around.
going to come haunt us.
You especially. You're already in the reservation book.
I'm glad.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Well, 98. This is a bit of a juicy episode. You found a couple stories. Justin found a couple stories. I found a couple stories. It's a little blend, but the theme is ordinary struggles. But while they're ordinary problems, like they've got some tea to them. They're a little juicy.
I like how you did that.
Mm-hmm. We all, even regular, ordinary life, it's entertaining.
Okay.
You didn't introduce our guest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this guy was, I was sitting in the, first I was sitting here and somehow he was over here and I touched his head and he went down.
Yeah.
And then I went and I sat over there because you kicked me out of the chairs because I was eating peanuts.
Yeah, you're a messy guy. You lost your privileges to eat on the white furniture.
So I went over to other white furniture, just to let you guys know, which is in the other side of the camera. And I watched Justin as he was trying to fix our little friend over here, and it kept going up and dropping down and going up and dropping down.
His legs were broken.
And I said, he'll be fine. So then, of course, Dad's Fix-It Shop, which we don't have the sign here because it's at the house.
Mm-hmm.
He got involved. And what happened?
Oh, he's fixed. I told you I had broken toys. You asked me last week.
Well, I broke it. You didn't break it because I remember I came off like I did
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It wasn't you. It was me.
His name is Jingle.
Jingle. Great to meet you.
He's excited to be here.
Yeah. Are we ready?
We're ready. Let's tear into it. And as the holidays are getting closer, let's let you all know that we're wishing you a great holiday season. And thank you for making us a part of it.
Yeah.
And let's spread love. And as we're on the road and we're going through crowds and we're doing things, let's not let our bad sides and the dark side of us take over. There is so much anger on the roads as I was driving.
Oh, road rage rant. Okay.
I got to tell you something.
I was
guys.
wondering where you were going with this one.
It's bad. Driving home, I saw accidents after cars were flipped around and it was just horrible. So
LA.
it's not even fun. It is so frustrating to watch what people are doing on the road and how other drivers are not considerate of one another. I'm watching red light runs left and right just because someone doesn't want to wait and cutting people off. And
Yep.
guys, we live in a society. We have to watch out for one another. And it starts with every one of us. So I really think that we just take a deep breath and love one another. And I'm wearing my shirt because we had like a reunion of neighbors that we had tree decorating last night and dinner and hot fudge and ice cream. And I will tell you, reach out to the people you grew up with, the family that you loved that you really came from the same neighborhood, and say, I love you. I'm thinking about you, and reflect on your life and your relationship with them because it's so special.
Okay.
Let's go.
It's a long intro.
Okay.
Poor
I'm done.
people.
I'm done. I'll be
Okay.
quiet.
Let's get into it.
Tear into it.
I really don't like tear.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Let's tear into it.
What are we tearing into?
What? That's just gross.
We're just going into it.
Ew.
Dive
Ew.
in. Well, you're okay. Okay. Let's let's open up the conversation.
Let's open up the tool bag.
Open up the tool bag.
There, that's
Enter
better.
the shop.
Great. Let's enter the shop.
Ready for number one?
I am ready for number one.
Okay.
Number one.
Hi, Jerry, Morgan, and Justin. My best friend Jay died suddenly on Thanksgiving 2021 after a short battle with COVID. Jay and I have been friends since 2000. And when I say friend, I mean we have been inseparable. He was with me for every major life event, from introducing me to my wife to the birth of both sons. We were brothers. In 2014, I introduced Jay to my other friend, A, and they started dating. They were in a committed relationship for 6 years. They lived together for 5 years, but unfortunately, they broke up in early 2021. Jay was the one who ended the relationship because he moved out of state to pursue his dream job. 3 months before Jay died, he started dating S. Whenever I'd talk to Jay, he'd never talk about S, but kept asking how A was doing. It would get to the point I told him to cut it out and he should be more excited about his new girlfriend. When Jay died, S got treated as if she was a widow of 30 years by Jay's family. She got to sit in the family-only section at the funeral. She's invited to every memorial, and his family keeps giving her the widow treatment. Jay and his family were not close. They were bullies and abusive to him growing up and didn't know him or his private life. So they have no idea that he was still asking about A every chance he got while not even talking about S. So my wife said I should write you, she's a big fan, and ask your opinion on this. Should I break the news to Jay's family that S wasn't that important to Jay and to stop treating her like his widow of 30 years when we all get together for his memorial this year?
Well, my feeling real quick, initial thought, doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. The only person that we really care about her feelings that she knows, that she should really know how he felt, was A. A really needs to know the importance where she was positioned with him. And the rest of them, let them go do their thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Why go make S feel betrayed or screwed or whatever, some negativity from this thing? He's gone. It's over. And we don't really know what their dynamic was together. So the fact that you really want to make sure that A gets the recognition of where his heart was, then you go to A privately and you have it, invite her over for dinner and say, I want you to know something. I think you need to know it. And because she may have some feelings that are uncertain what was really going on, and she should know where her position is. So I that's where I kind of lie on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very interesting place to be that I don't know if we've ever really encountered in our discussions here, but it's interesting to think because I understand the feeling of wanting to go say, hey, no, like, here's how it really was. That inner feeling, like, oh, like you see this happening, but
it's annoying to watch.
In all reality, yeah, what difference is it going to make except for you, right? What difference is it going to make really out in the world? I like the thought of addressing A and letting A know. Mm-hmm. But really the rest of it, I mean, everyone's grieving, everyone's going through a big loss, it's big life change. I'm sure the holidays are coming up and that's in the mind. So holidays are going to be different. XYZ is different. And so it's just maybe unnecessary to throw that in. And then my other thought was, yeah, he may not have been talking about S, and you would probably know Jay better than anybody. When someone's by your side every day and you're that close of friends, I mean, you really know someone. But if I were in that position, I mean, I think even 3 months in with Morgan, if I had lost Morgan, that would have been like world ending for me. Even though, yeah, we hadn't dated for 6 years, but I was just so head over heels obsessed and I was locked in and I knew I'd found my person. So that would have broken me and I would have wanted to have that relationship with the family and grieve with them because I would have needed that. And so who knows? I know maybe Morgan situation in 3 months in is a little bit different than J and S was, but considering that 3 months in can be pretty serious still.
I agree. I think honestly, you don't know what he was saying to her. Like this was very new, and maybe he was asking about A just to be a good person and like check in, and like you do care for someone after 6 years of dating with them and living with them for 5. So maybe he was literally asking about A just out of care and concern to be a good person and like, hey, is A okay? Like, is A good? But it doesn't mean that this relationship with S was any less serious or real. I think there's maybe a little privacy that could have happened, especially with him moving away. I think the only thing that telling the family, oh, he wasn't that serious with S is going to do is kind of make you look bad. And if it annoys you so much and it annoys you seeing this person get treated like this, have your own memorial. Do your own recognition of your best friend, because it sounds like the family didn't even know him that well. The family didn't treat him that well. So whatever show they're trying to put on, let them put it on. Have your own celebration of life of him and recognize him in the way you want and that feels good for you guys that knew him and loved him. Because the family sounds like they're doing it for their own showboaty reasons, maybe, especially if they weren't close and treated him bad.
I'm going to cap this off with a thought.
Okay.
So my thought is, first of all, I'm sure there is guilt. If the family weren't connected, there's some guilt going on.
Yeah, potentially.
With that family and stuff. And death, when you lose someone that's part of your family, it's no different. You cut off a tail off of a lizard. That thing's still wiggling. It just doesn't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
But you may in your mind need to go put it, what would he want? He was your friend. Would he really want you to go to S and assassinate the feelings or memories that she has? Because if he really wanted to assassinate her and damage her and hurt her to that kind of pain, especially right now, don't you think he would have broken up with her before and said something? Something would have happened. So I want you to think about that. And I think Morgan was very right. This isn't really for you to fix.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to ask yourself, when I read this, at least, it feels like there's some jealousy that you weren't the one sitting in the family only section, that maybe you aren't the one being recognized as his best friend. And the reality is, like, maybe ask yourself why you might have negative feelings in regards to those things, but then also recognize in the same breath, you say, his family didn't know him. His family didn't treat him right. You were his family. And if you want to feel better, don't interact with them. Put on your own thing. Do your own thing for Jay, because that's probably what Jay would have wanted. So, do what's going to make you feel good remembering your friend. You don't have to go to his family memorials. You can do your own thing.
And you don't have to really raise yourself up by bringing anybody else down.
Yeah. And I get it. It's so frustrating to see someone who gets recognized for maybe something they shouldn't. I'm thinking of like work-related stuff, not obviously funerals, but I can imagine it would still feel just annoying to watch someone just kind of get toted around for not really a deserved reason. And it's hard, it's frustrating, but I think, hearing your ideal outcome too, short of Jay coming back, that S would go away. I mean, S and him, they dated until the end of his life, and that is a part of his life. So I think you just got to move past it and start recognizing your friend in a way that does feel good for you.
And it was a part of her life.
Yeah. And you can't, they didn't break up. If he would have dumped her, then it's probably a different story. But they dated until he died.
I will share this with you, that there are people in my life that I have dated. And the day that I'm gone, I don't know if they'll ever really know what they meant to me. But because they meant a lot to me, doesn't mean the person that I was with at that moment didn't have any significance. Everyone has a different level of significance in one's life. So let's all be adult and be fair to other people's feelings. And it goes back to our same thing. Let's be nice to people.
Yeah. And I will just add, obviously our writer and Jay are very, very close. Jay went to their place for every holiday. They'd go on every vacation together. And this is a friendship of 20 years. So this is a real significant friendship. And you are struggling with a huge loss. And I don't want to discredit that. None of us do in any way. But I think, maybe S is just kind of the punching bag for your feelings. And
Grief.
yeah, grief fucking sucks.
Grief.
So I would just start doing your own thing. Honestly, it sounds like the family didn't even really know him. And that would be annoying to watch them try to come in and be like they were the best family and they loved him so much after years of abuse. So
do you think
your own thing?
Do you think he's wrong to call A and say, "Hey, I just want you to know that you meant something special to him"?
No, if that makes you feel better, and like, I don't know, like, I guess you have to ask yourself, like, is that going to do more damage to A, or is that going to make A feel better?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah. Moving along. One of this week's partners is Skylight Frames. I procrastinated a little bit of my work today and spent most of the day holiday shopping. And it can be so hard to find a good, meaningful gift that people are going to love and use and not just toss to the side like it's junk. That is where Skylight Frames can come in. Skylight is a touch-screen photo frame that you can send pictures to straight from your phone, and they appear on the frame in seconds. I gifted this to my mom a couple Christmases ago, and this has been the most memorable gift I've given her. It's allowed us to keep close and in touch even though we live far from each other, and it's allowed us to share pictures with her that we wouldn't want on social media. If you're a new parent and you want to keep your kid offline, but still share those pictures with grandma and grandpa, this could be a great way to do it. My favorite part is that my brothers and I can all be involved. Multiple people can access the frame, send in their own pictures. It makes it really fun for our whole family. So if you're ready to try for yourself, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $15 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/father. To get $15 off your purchase of a Skylight frame, just go to skylightframe.com/father. That's skylightframe.com/father. Link is also in the description.
How about that?
Number two. Yeah.
Dos.
Let me get in reading position here.
Dos amigos.
No, it's dos hombres. Dear Father Knows Something friends. Thought he was going to propose. He broke up instead.
Oof.
My boyfriend, 26, of 3 years, broke up with me, 28, female, over the fact that in our whole relationship, I never showed I was happy with the way he showed me love. For context, it is words of affirmation, and that is not his strong skill. His is touch. I get annoyed when he doesn't show me love how I want to because I expect perfection, and I have some unresolved trauma about broken promises and communication. This is my first relationship. He's the guy I've lost my V card to and the only one I felt comfortable around. He's honestly like the sun, and being with him makes me want to be a better person. I never knew that my bad attitude about his love language could lead to this. Truth be told, I did dig my own grave 2 months ago when I told him, quote, I don't want to be constantly disappointed when you don't show it to me how I want. He broke up with me last night and I wanted to throw up, had IBS, couldn't walk, and at some point thought it really is the smartest to call an emergency because the chest pains were excruciating. He says he might not be the one for me and that lately it is just not the same and that he realized he can't give me what I want because when he fails and I get disappointed, he feels like shit. I don't know what's the one or if he might be one. Truthfully, I agree that something is missing. When we met, it was an instant connection, no anxiousness, no doubts whether we liked each other. There was no passionate desire between us. It was a calm love, and to me, it was okay. Did I sometimes want to feel fire between us? Yeah, I found our relationship calm. He is my calm harbor, and I cherish that. It cannot be described. I do want to marry him. He's the perfect person I'd want to spend my life with and trust with our children. What do I do? How do I change his mind about the breakup? He seemed so sure and said he's been thinking about it for 2 months now. He mentioned it only after I asked him if he sees our future together, to which he said no, and that we should break up. Please help me with your wisdom. I don't ever want to lose him, even if I can hold him as a friend.
Tough conversation. tough reality. Last night at dinner, childhood neighbor with her husband, I was hearing their story, and they said, "Oh, we broke up for 5 months." And I said, "Have we had this on our show?" It's a constant. The good news is that if he's recognized the fact that he can't provide you what you want, there's something missing, he feels there's something missing, it's probably best that you let it go for right now and see what happens in the future, go on with your life. And if something crosses at that time, again, it does. I have been with different relationships that I've realized something was missing, and that whatever it was, and it was never going to be to the level of a relationship, maybe in some ways that I had before. And I was able to sense their disappointment and cared for them greatly, and broke up. And the person said, can't we get back together? And I said, I don't want to mislead you. And I don't really feel it. It's just not, you're disappointed. It was the same story you just recited. And at the end of the day, I actually tried to be friends, to reach out later to be friends, because I did think that she was great. Never responded, was angry, and that friendship never happened. So, oh well. I mean, you have to go what's best for everybody. So it may not be that you guys can be friends later or not, or you'll get back together later or not. But for right now, the reality is you need to move on with your life and not dwell on how to get him back. He's got to figure that one out, because he's the one that said something is just not there.
Yeah, I hear this, and I think there needs to be some personal growth on our writer's end. When you describe your communication with him and saying, you kind of recognize it as you digging your own grave, but saying, I'm tired of being, disappointed, or what?
Constantly disappointed.
I'm tired of being constantly disappointed. That is treating your partner with such contempt. There's an amazing relationship expert that we've kind of talked about named John Gottman, and he has the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, and criticism, I believe, is the 4th one. And using those against your partner is like the nail in the coffin. You might as well just start digging. That's kind of what he talks about. And you end up in this roach motel, and it's amazing. He's got amazing books and so much data to back up his teachings and what he talks about. And I would start reading his books, because the way you communicated to him isn't great. I think it is important to know your love language and kind of understand what you like and what your partner likes, and how to, reciprocate and make sure they're feeling loved and whatever. But I don't think love languages are an end-all be-all. It's the communication and how you're communicating to your partner your needs and your wants. And hey, he might never be a words of affirmation guy. And if that's what you absolutely 100% need, then this isn't a match. I think I would take a step back. And if you come together down the line, that's amazing. But put in the work personally now, so you are ready for him if you guys line up again. Because unless you put in the work, what is going to inspire change? And I have a friend who is kind of going through the same thing with, a relationship, and recognizes she's not perfect and has these issues. And I go, well, what are you doing to address them? Because even if you're not with this partner and it's with the next partner, you're going to have the same issue. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to work on that so it's not an issue in every relationship you have? Because no one's going to be perfect. No one's going to get it 100% right. Mm-hmm. But how can you communicate in a nice way that is respectful to your partner and mm-hmm. doesn't come across with contempt and almost, cruel jabs? Because that's not healthy for a long-term sustainable relationship.
I agree.
I had a lot of ideas in my head, and you kind of just said every single one of them. But the one thing I'll add is, what I see from this is that he recognized you were unhappy, and he took it upon himself to think about it, think about what he is able to offer, mm-hmm. And I think he came to the conclusion that he's not going to meet your standards, and did the right thing that we say a lot of people should do on this show, and said, you know what? I think it's best if we split because I can't keep you happy. So, you know, the lesson to learn here, and we all have a tendency, 100%, I did it, is you really want to cling on to that first relationship. It's really tough. I had a really hard time with it where, you know, you'll stay even though things are clearly not right.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Not saying that's the case here. That's just another general thought. But like you said, people aren't perfect. And, you know, maybe it's because I'm looking at the additional info.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have any?
He forgot the second anniversary and almost every 100th day of our relationship. So I'm just thinking, like, you know, it's where it's having a healthy level of expectation with someone that you're with. You know, maybe your expectation is impossible to reach, and that's something to think about. You know, what are you expecting? Is that, you know, is it just simply that the love language was never there, or that it wasn't to some, I don't know, you know, to some level?
To forget a second anniversary is a bigger deal. So maybe this is more along the lines of you were comfortable with him and, you know, you went through big things like losing your virginity to him, but maybe because of that, you were trying to make something work that just wasn't meant to work.
True. Could have just been a mismatch from the start.
I think you let time go by and you'll see where you guys really fall out, and maybe you can become friends. Maybe you'll find out that you're inseparable. Maybe you'll find that you've moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to number 3.
Number 3. Another one of this week's partners is ZocDoc. The holidays are coming up, you guys. And as a healthcare provider, this is the time of year when I was working in the hospital, I would see the most health issues arise. We're stressed, we might not be eating the best, but that means it's the time of year to really look after yourself and making sure you're staying healthy. And it's flu and cold season on top of it. It's like we can't catch a break. That's where ZocDoc can come in. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. And you can even filter for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. The last thing you want when you're trying to look after yourself is a doctor that doesn't listen to you, doesn't respect you, and isn't willing to help you find a solution. ZocDoc has made that so easy for me. I have found the most amazing gynecologists and regular providers thanks to reading those patient reviews. You know, your filter is activated and it helps you screen out ones that aren't going to be a good fit for you. You're not going to waste your time. You're going to feel good when you leave that appointment. You're going to feel heard and respected. And I'm not the only one that's had success. Lauren's found a dermatologist, a gastroenterologist. ZocDoc continues to connect all of us with great providers. So if you're ready to try for yourself, go to ZocDoc.com/FKS and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/FKS. ZocDoc.com/FKS.
All right, number 3.
Let's go.
Hi, Father Knows. I'm a huge fan of your podcast and THT.
Thank you.
And I listen to both of them every day.
Yeah.
On to the problem. I, 21 female, am in my last semester of college and have been offered a job as a reporter with a paper I interned at if I can get a car and license by January 1. The problem is I just have my permit. I have a license test scheduled for December 22nd, the day after my birthday. I thought my dad could teach me how to drive. However, I just tried to do a lesson with him, and he yelled at me for small mistakes.
Ooh.
I understand that making mistakes while driving can be deadly, but we were in an empty parking lot. It was making me super angry and stressed. I told him not to yell at me, and he kept going on. I almost parked the car and got out and left. After I got home, I cried. I really need someone to teach me how to drive, but he seems like my only option. Additionally, as for getting a car, I tried to get a car loan, but I was denied. I have no money and my dad has bad credit. I don't live with my mom, but she has worse credit. I'm starting to accept the fact that I might not be able to get the job, but I at least want to pass my driver's license test. Any advice would be appreciated.
This is a fun one. Because dads could be a good dad doesn't mean they could be a great teacher. And sometimes we are a little emotional more than we need to be. I know that when my brother wanted his daughter to learn to drive, he realized quickly that he would not be an
Appropriate teacher.
an appropriate teacher. He then put me in the passenger seat.
Oh, God.
And where she went up the road, and I thought she was going to hit every car as we were going up on the road on the right-hand side. And I realized I'm not the appropriate one, and I got all the patience in the world.
Yeah. Jeez.
So that all being said, in California, we do have a wonderful school called California Driving School. They are trained.
Mm-hmm.
They have dual wheels. They have people that take mass quantities of relaxants
They must have to.
to go, do this lesson of this gift of whatever you want to call it. So to take away the humor in it and get back to your root, look, you're going to have to find a way through a driving school that may be offered by a school. High schools have it.
AAA.
Do they have it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you need to really be able to go back and do this. I would also go to the paper, because obviously they know you interned, and say, look, I want the job, and I plan to get here a certain way, but I don't have my license yet. I'm trying to get it defined. And people typically understand there's a certain amount of time of leeway. If we really want that person as an employee, because we value them as an employee, we will try to help to facilitate that. Because you're looking at a relationship of quite a while to be working for somebody. It's a relationship, not just a job. And they brought you on board and offered you this job because of the relationship that you have successfully have been growing.
Yeah.
I think that if you go to them with an open book and tell them what's going on, I think you might still figure a way through this, that you won't lose the opportunity. You guys will both win-win and succeed, and you'll be a great reporter for them and a great employee, and you'll be committed because you guys committed to one another. And as your dad, behavior right now, some dads just, again, are not good with this kind of stuff.
Honestly, he could have car anxiety, because I've thought about this with like Justin and I, having kids, and who's going to be the one to have to like teach them. And I think I could handle like parallel parking and 90-degree backs and parking lot stuff. But when it comes to getting on the road, my car anxiety is so bad, I can barely keep quiet when he's driving.
And I'm an expert.
You're okay.
Well, I know you don't keep quiet when I'm driving.
No, because you're terrible. So it could just be a bad match. But I will say, if, a driving school or something like that is unaffordable for you right now, ask a friend. You're 21, and in most states, you just have to be 21 or older to have someone with a permit drive with you. So if you have a friend that's the same age or a little older, you should be able to have a friend teach you. Like, that should be kosher. That should be good.
Unless you're really bad.
Well, no, but I think that should work. But I was going to say, like, public transport, if it's available to get to work for the first month, could be Uber. And I know, like, some people are like, Uber's so unaffordable, and obviously depends on what city you're in and how far you have to go. But I know for some friends, it's cheaper to take Uber to work every day than it is to own a car.
Because you have to park.
The car payment, the car insurance, just all of these other aspects, gas, like everything that goes into owning a car, especially when you're buying a cheaper used car. There's a lot of maintenance costs. You could pay $2,000 for a car and then it breaks the next day. Like, they're kind of wild cards.
Absolutely.
And so it could be cheaper until you start getting a safety net with some savings and you can get a reliable car. It might be cheaper to Uber and public transport.
Time.
Oh, yeah. And then you can work in the car. You can read a book. You can text. You can browse. Like, I loved taking the bus to work. It was so nice.
Yeah, all of these become viable options if you go sit down and
Have the
and
conversation.
be open with
Yeah,
them
that
and
was
say,
great.
here's my situation.
And the most important thing to make it a viable option is you have to buy into it.
Yeah.
You can't say no to it. You have to say, if I really want this job, I will make this happen.
Yeah.
And so take that focus in your head, how
You
bad
got
you
it.
want it, and you make it happen.
Yeah. I think that is a great idea. And I think being transparent with them and just saying, I will do everything I can to do this. However, I will be here. I will be reliable. I will make sure I'm on time every day. You won't have to worry about that.
How did she intern?
How'd you get there during that?
Well, I don't know if it's so much about getting to work as it is of getting to the different places you have to report from.
True.
Well,
reporter, bopping around.
Well, again, you will.
Same options.
And remember, when you start being a reporter for a company, depends on how you're hired, they provide you with a vehicle.
Some do.
Some do. So I would definitely look into all things. But the first answer is you have to have a conversation with them because you do have to get your license. And you also, I would definitely look into some of the high schools for driver training and things of that nature because they offered it. And they probably have a nighty-night option if you go to their adult education department. And I would try that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember doing behind the wheel because when you have your permit, you are required in Minnesota to do at least, this is granted over 10 years ago, you were required to do 3 behind the wheels with an actual driving instructor, and then they signed your little permit card. So,
do you want to know what mine said every time?
Outstanding. Why
Great
was I
driving,
even here?
But the one negative was lead foot.
Still got it.
Imagine that.
Still got it.
Morgan was driving at the age of 8.
I was driving young. I'll teach you to drive. Where are you? Oh, God, no. I don't know. But maybe parking lot. We'll start parking lot. I think I can handle that. But I might be worse than your dad, honestly.
You're funny. You're funny.
I do have one more last statement. Then
Yeah.
we got to go into the next one. Yes. You would be worse than her father.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I'm going to try.
You need your own break. That's what my guy
Yes.
had.
I think if I had my own break and a small sense of control over my destiny and my life, I think I'd feel better.
Go call adult education.
I learned from an ex-sheriff.
Good.
Mine was my old middle school principal.
Good for you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving along.
Next one.
Hi, Jerry, Justin, Morgan, and Holly. I'm a longtime listener, first-time writer. I'm writing to ask you for advice on overcoming something that has been a hindrance on my quality of life. I'm a 27-year-old female, and as long as I can remember, I've been overweight. My father spent most of my childhood and teenage years drinking and emotionally abusing me. I've gone to therapy on and off for years, which has helped me immensely, but I've seen to come to a halt in my progression when it comes to exercise. I've never been an athletic type of person, and growing up, my dad would force me to run alongside of him riding his bike or driving his truck and shout at me to continue until I would throw up. He forced me to join gymnastics and berated my body when I was in the leotard uniform. He put diet pills in my food when I refused to keep taking them. That caused me to overdose on caffeine. He'd say horrible things about how I'll never find love and I'll die by the age of 30. I tried exercising on my own, and he always made it about him, telling me how I'd thank him when I'm older that he pushed me so hard. Well, I'm older, and I can't ever stick to a routine of moving my body and staying healthy. My very supportive and loving partner has offered to go to the gym in our apartment with me, and I don't know how I feel about it. I can't stand the thought of anyone seeing me while I move, which I know sounds ridiculous. I wish I had a physical activity that I enjoyed doing to keep me healthy without the doom feelings or my dad's voice in my head shouting at me. So much love for all, and any advice is very appreciated. Ideal outcome. In a perfect world, the ideal outcome is to be the healthiest version of myself by finding it in me to overcome my childhood trauma and properly take care of my body in a fun, consistent, maintainable way. Additional, I have thyroid disease. I don't know if you are familiar, but I bounce back and forth between hyper and hypo. It's another thing that makes it difficult to remain consistent with exercise. Having thyroid disease, as my doctor explained it, can make doing anything physical take twice as much effort, and the recovery from physical activity can take twice as long.
All right. Well, I'm going to start by saying that when it comes to weight and what we do with our bodies, I'm far from an expert. I have taken weight on. I've gone the wild side, taken it off. I've done every kind of different theory, and they've all worked. They only work as long as you decide to stay on it. You get back into your vice, it goes off. You start dealing in thyroid issues. Morgan, you have had a lot of expertise and knowledge within thyroid. It all plays in. So, I don't know if I really have the answer as far as your weight. As far as yourself and your dad's relationship, I really can't imagine why he can't just accept you for who you are and love you and not beat you up on it. It's enough. It's not like you don't recognize there's something going on with you and that you are not happy about it, but you still need your family support no matter who you are and what you are. Maybe that's an easy conversation and not one of yelling, but to say, Dad, if you don't think I'm aware of this, it's something that I deal with. And it'd just be nice if you just accept me for what I am and not to criticize me consistently and abuse me that way, because it doesn't help. It hasn't helped. It only makes me hurt. And if you really want to hurt me, then keep it up. But if you don't want to hurt me, don't do it.
Thyroid stuff sucks. My grandma's hypo. My mom was hypo, but she had a bunch of masses, so she actually had a thyroidectomy. I'm hypo. Thought it was Hashimoto's and autoimmune for a while. So thyroid, I know well. I mean, I look at a piece of cake and it fucking just sticks to me. So it's a struggle. But, something you have to kind of ask yourself too. One, what your dad did, extreme abuse, just terrible, terrible, terrible abuse. And I'm kind of questioning, you have these issues, you're working with a doctor, hopefully getting your thyroid balanced with, Synthroid or other medications. But, your dad's obsession with your weight, you see this a lot with moms, I would say, more so. And is your weight even an issue? Are you at a healthy weight for your body, but your dad just thinks it's wrong? What is your dad's ideal weight for you? Is it 100 pounds? Because 100 pounds isn't necessarily what's healthy for your body. I think there's a lot to even look at there where it's what is healthy for your body? And forget what he wants, because that might not even be healthy or attainable. Some people just have bigger bone structures and they carry differently. I love the images of people, and it's, usually you see it in women's advertising right now, especially, but it's a group of women all lined up, and there's some that are 6 feet tall. There's some that are 5'2", but they're all 140 pounds. And it's amazing to see how different bodies can carry the same weight. Mm-hmm. So it's really just determining what's healthy for you. And I think when it comes to physical activity, you just got to find something fun. You can work out in such fun ways. Horseback riding is a workout. When we go riding, I don't ride very often right now. So when we go riding, the next day, I'm oh my God, I worked muscles I haven't worked in forever. So you don't have to work out. You don't have to go down to your gym. Go find any activity that you like to do moving.
Or try different activities.
Try. Yeah. ClassPass is incredible.
Remember when I got into paddleboarding?
You're a big paddleboarder. That is an amazing workout.
And I had never done it before. I used to be a swimmer and I went to a different, I like to go kayaking at one point in time. And then all of a sudden I got on a paddleboard and said, this is cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's work.
Yeah.
And you can do it. And you don't have to fall off the board and get wet. You never have to get off the board.
Stay on your knees if it's too hard.
And
that's the trick.
You'll be fine. And
no, you got to stand.
We
stand.
Try.
Come on, we stand.
It's a good attempt.
But you'll get it.
There's bicycling. There's all different type of activity. If you just go into a magazine and just see what people are doing for motion. I'd like to say pickleball is picking up very quickly. The biggest problem with pickleball is people don't really realize you have to loosen up first. And all of a sudden they're on the court, and before you know it, there's a lot of people falling over and
Oh my God.
and breaking bones. Yeah,
Jeez,
it's crazy.
okay.
It's crazy. And you don't have to be in great shape to do it. It's just activity.
Yeah.
But the biggest, most important thing is
Stretch. Okay.
Make your muscles ready for it.
One thing I thought about, and Justin used to come with me when I did this, but I love the ClassPass app. There's also a couple we've had as partners that are like online fitness platforms that have a variety of classes. And I loved mixing it up, like trying yoga, going to Pilates. There's like silk classes where you hang on a silk. There's trampoline classes where you bounce on a trampoline to really fun music. And we used to go to that all the time. And something I was going to ask you, going to those classes, do you ever remember even like watching other people and like remembering what they were doing?
Not really.
So you being worried about other people seeing you move, trust me, no one is paying attention to you. They are watching themselves in the mirror and they're worried about how they look.
Well, I forget what that's called. Where you think, like, even when you walk into a restaurant, you think everyone is like watching you the whole time and no one even, it's like you think you're the center of everyone's attention, but you're really just another one in the mix.
No one cares. Everyone's worried about how awkward they look. I literally have been to so many workout classes and I can't tell you one single time that someone else has stood out to me for doing something weird or awkward. Like, I'm the awkward one. Like, we all think that about ourselves. Even the most fit people. Trust me, I go to workout classes with Alejandra and Lauren. They work out at least 5 times a week. They are very in shape, fit people, and they're only concerned about themselves too. No one cares about other people there. Like, do something fun. Like, don't stress about it.
Well, and I think you have the biggest piece of this covered, which is the inner motivation.
Yeah.
You want to be the healthiest version of yourself. You know, I don't know how to get your dad out of your head because that is so awful. And I can literally see that happening. The second your heart starts beating and you actually start moving and you're doing it, you just hear him screaming at you. Like, I think the best thing for you is to find either whether it's a recurring class where it's the same people, a few people you can do workouts with or go to activities such as pickleball, any of these things. But to be the healthiest version of yourself, just what I've learned in my years of training, 70% is diet and it's what you eat. And that can be a big thing. Whereas if you start looking at different videos on YouTube, and I know there's a lot of misinformation, but if you find, you know, nutritionists or people that have proven they know some things, you can really start to refine different parts of what you're eating. That's a big step to take. The other 30% is actual exercise. As long as you stay moving, for a lot of people, it can be as simple as literally going for a walk. And walks are awesome because you get out.
Walks are some of the best.
You get outside, you reconnect a little bit with being like nature and just being out and feeling the breeze and those types of things. Walking is amazing. I remember just growing up my whole life, it was always, we go walk the dogs after dinner.
I took off 50 pounds about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And all it took was me making my mind up. And
it's the inner motivation. Yeah.
And once it didn't matter what anybody said, when I really made my mind up. And yes, for the first couple of weeks, I had someone help me just by cooking with me, keeping me on that trail of what foods I really want to bring in and kind of help me with the select plan of it. And that locked me in and it worked.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, and then, you know, of course I found my friend, Mr. Pizza and Mr. Cheese and Mr. Cracker.
Yeah, you're real bad right now. You're a naughty snacker right now.
I'm a naughty boy.
The biggest piece of it is consistency. Whether it's going for a walk every certain interval, once every 3 days, once every day, whatever it is for you.
Walking work.
It's staying consistent. It's going, and if you're going to do pickleball, if you go and play once, you'll see no change. But you might get hooked on pickleball. if you go and play once every week and you fall in love with it,
Make
whether it's
some
pickleball or whatever
friends.
activity,
Yeah.
and you love it, your dad's voice will start getting quieter and quieter, and you'll start loving it. And then if you really get into it, when you start to see the results of what you're doing,
you're so proud of yourself.
You'll be hooked on it like a drug, where the motivation inside of you is so strong. And you're like, fuck what my dad thought. This is for me. I'm doing this for myself.
That's right.
And that's the inner transformation that I think could be so beautiful.
It really, and it works. I mean, we all find our excuses. I had a car accident, and that was my excuse for not moving the way I was moving around and doing things. And yes, my weight went up, and then all of a sudden, but I do know that if I really finally get in my head, I will find something that doesn't cause me pain to go move and get that motion and get that discipline back.
Yeah. Well, and I want to pick on that. So you said what doesn't cause you pain. Our listener is dealing with thyroid stuff. So like they said, it's 2 times the energy. With my thyroid, I deal with a lot of fatigue. I'm always tired. I'm literally always tired. I don't ever feel really awake unless after a shit ton of caffeine. So make it attainable. And that's for anyone with like disabilities or chronic conditions like MS and things like that. Like move in a way that feels good. OB Fitness is the one I wanted to talk about that we've worked with in the past. And they have over 20 different workout types, low impact to high intensity, 5 minutes to 60 minutes. So if you only have 5 minutes and that's what your body can tolerate, 5 minutes is amazing. It's better than 0.
Better than 0. That's right.
10 minutes. Like they're having a really fun fit mass, like kind of to play off Christmas. 25 days of fitmass. I don't know what I'm saying. It was so weird. 10 minutes, upper body. All you need is little hand weights. Day 2, boxing. No equipment needed.
Well, you get to box elves.
Yeah, something I'm sure. But you can literally, this is not an ad. We've worked with them in the past. I've tried it and loved it. They have a free trial right now. So go try it. Yeah. Just see how it goes. Try a 5-minute one. Some nice stretching. Get ready for the pickleball. But yeah, I think, kind of like what we've all said, like keep working with your therapist. Fuck your dad. Like get that voice out of your head and just do it for you and start having fun. Make it fun, not exercise. Find the fun.
I agree.
Well, and as we approach, I mean, New Year's Eve resolutions, every single year, all the gyms see everyone sign up.
That's right.
And then slowly but surely each month they all fall off. And the hardest part is getting started. Second hardest part is just staying consistent.
Well, your family was in the gym business, so I'm sure you saw that a lot. You're an expert in that concept.
It's the amount, January 1, 2, 3.
New Year's resolutions.
Yep. But
that means it's the perfect time to try because how many other new people are going to be in there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Everyone's going to be in there trying it out.
And then the challenge for you can be to outlast all those newbies.
Hey.
Stay with it.
Honestly, yeah.
It doesn't have to be a gym,
No, I hate the gym.
Whatever you do, it's better that you were so right. It's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
Keep
give it a shot. And
just move.
And don't listen to anybody else. Just, you got to focus on yourself. I mean, it really is when people get involved and start giving you pressure and start pointing at you and saying, don't you eat that cookie. I'm trying to help you. It's not helping you.
Yep.
I'm going to eat this fucking cookie and then I'll go for a walk after. Go fuck yourself.
Or it comes from within where you're like, I really love like all the work I've put in and I've walked 5 days this week. I'm going to skip the cookie. You know what? Because I'm proud of what I've accomplished so far and I'm trying to,
it is all about balance.
It's for you though. Whatever's going to make you happy. If the cookie's going to make you happier than not,
Life's too short to not eat the cookies.
The only thing that I would really think that might help if you're not a nutritionist and not really aware of all the right foods, have someone step in and help you for the first few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I think it
helps work.
It depends. Thyroid related, if you haven't looked into the AIP diet, it's just a way of eating that works really well with those with thyroid disorders. So there's some things to check out too.
Okay.
Number 5. Another one of this week's partners is Uncommon Goods. If you haven't started your holiday shopping yet, no need to worry. This is where Uncommon Goods is going to come in and connect you with some of the most amazing small businesses and artists to find those unique, one-of-a-kind, special, meaningful gifts. a lot of which are handmade in the US. Uncommon Goods has actually connected me to some of my favorite gifts I've ever given. I was able to get my niece and nephew customized children's books with their names in it, their dogs in it. It was the cutest thing. And I think the customizable aspect of these gifts is so special. I also just discovered an amazing artist that is from my home state of Minnesota when I bought this beautiful Minnesota spoon holder. I actually cried when I read the little card that Uncommon Goods sent telling me about the artist and her history and how she's from Minnesota. And that's how the people in your life could feel when you gift them stuff. I don't know about you guys, but it is my mission to make people cry when I give them gifts. In a good way, though, in a good way. And Uncommon Goods could make that happen. So whatever you're looking for, from art and jewelry to kitchen, home, and bar, Uncommon Goods has something for everyone. These are truly special pieces. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/FKS. That's uncommongoods.com/FKS for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Link is also in the description.
The big finale.
You held up 4. It's not 4.
I thought it was 4.
It's 5. 5 and final.
Whoa, where you been?
Wow.
I fell asleep apparently.
Not again.
Not again.
It's not that I fell asleep.
Seriously.
My memories, it gets a little.
Yeah. Okay, last one.
Let's go do it.
My 23 female boyfriend, 25 male, just got asked to be a groomsman for his best friend's wedding.
23, 25. I'm doing pretty good now.
The couple getting married have been friends with my boyfriend since they were all in high school together. The bride's bridal party includes a woman, 25 female, who my boyfriend used to date in high school and remains friends with now. When she was asked to be a bridesmaid, she said yes and asked to walk down the aisle with my boyfriend at that part in the ceremony. This is where it's a good time to say I've had to work on my attachment issues throughout my relationship with my boyfriend because I have had very emotional reactions to situations like this in the past. About a year ago, I saw 25 female flirting with my boyfriend across the room at a party. I bottled it up until I had a breakdown one day, went through my boyfriend's phone, and questioned him about any texts with her that seemed suspicious. At the end of the day, I don't trust 25 female, but I trust my boyfriend. So how do I avoid reacting like that again and ultimately help this wedding be a good experience for everyone? Ideal outcome, stop freaking out, enjoy the wedding, and not do or say anything that would stop everyone else from enjoying the wedding. Additional info. The bride and groom are having their bachelor/bachelorette party together also. In the past, my boyfriend told me he doesn't have romantic feelings for 25 female, and when they dated, he realized she wasn't his type. I trust my boyfriend, but am more worried he'll get put into a situation that I feel some way about.
We've had stories like this in the past.
This is a juicy one. Whew. I got some feelings.
Let's go back to the basics. The more flung you start flinging in the air about this thing and start showing your insecurity, the worse problem you're going to have with your relationship. And if there's any cause in your real mind to think there's something really that's going to be a problem, then maybe you should rethink it. There's too many people who go down the aisle, and when they get there, they finally say at the wedding, they either say I do when they should have said I don't, or they should have said, we need to call it off. The reality is you're going to have to be able to have trust. And if you trust them, and the more that you trust them, the better it's going to be in reality for your relationship.
So I have a question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
So let's say our writer does truly trust him. She's saying she trusts him. It's the girl she's worried about. Okay. You can trust your partner, but do you feel that they should have a certain level of respect for you to maybe not engage with certain people that are being disrespectful to you?
Well, let me ask a question, because I missed one part when they said, can she be a bridesmaid? She said that she wants to walk down with her boyfriend.
The ex-boyfriend.
She wants to go down with the groom to be?
No, he had it right. He just mixed the him and hers. He was saying to walk down with her boyfriend, saying the writer is her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you had it straight.
So our writer is the current girlfriend of this guy.
Is she the one that's getting married to this guy?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
yeah, he's confused. So our writer is writing in, she's just a girl dating this guy.
Okay.
This guy has friends that are getting married.
Oh, okay.
The bride is friends with his ex-girlfriend. The ex-girlfriend
Is a
bridesmaid.
And they're going to walk down the aisle together.
She said, "Can I walk down the aisle with him?" And then she flirts with him all the time. So our writer is being like, I trust my boyfriend, but I don't trust her.
You can't control the people in life. You just can't. So yeah, you want to go back and say, should she have respect and all this other? If she wants to be an immature person and be disrespectful, you're not gonna be able to control people. It just doesn't. It's not reality of life. She's still got to be confident enough that in him that he is locked. Look, I can take this guy anywhere in the world. I know one thing: he's locked. He isn't budging. He's resolute in what he wants in his life.
Strip club.
Let's go tomorrow. I can guarantee that it's not an issue. And nor if he went to a strip club, would you be bugged by it. I have one of my best friends went to a strip club. His wife would forbid him from doing it. She walked in one time. She took him by the back of his hair and she pulled him out.
Some people have their boundaries.
Yeah, and there you go. Was he doing anything wrong? No, but he certainly lost some hair that day. You got to trust who you're with. It's the end of the story. If you do not trust him, then move on because there's something tripping there. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a question for you now because of
I
this.
have the biggest question of all.
Okay, let's
To
hear
whom?
it.
If she truly trusts him, would we have a write-in?
Maybe not.
Because there's something, I trust him, but there's a little asterisk with it. And then down below it says, but there's this girl.
There's a burr, isn't
Because
there?
if you trust someone 100% ironclad, you would trust them to a point where you expect them to put up a wall for all this. And it's not going to be an issue.
So here's my question I was going to ask you.
Go ahead.
If this were me and one of my friends was getting married and the guy that I was going to walk down the aisle with was an ex-boyfriend who still flirted with me and was asking, can I walk down the aisle with Morgan? And
if I had seen for the last 5 years of you, this person flirting, and you're like, yeah, it's just who he is and whatever, and there's nothing going on and I truly trust you, I'm like, all right, it's going to be fun to watch. You know, like it's...
Yeah.
I got one for you. Let's just bring it.
Because I would believe in my heart truly that you would not play into any of it.
yeah.
And if you're not going to play into any of it, what does it matter?
But what don't you think, just like to respect our relationship, don't you think I should have gone to my friends and been like, it's kind of weird that we would walk down together? Like, we're all friends in this group, but like, we're not together. Because a lot of times in weddings, you do see people that are married or together and friends with both people, and they walk down together. These two aren't associated anymore. Why is she asking to walk down the aisle with him?
I mean, in a perfect world, she wouldn't. She would respect it, but she's not. She's just what she is.
But why can't he go to his friends and be like, hey, you know, this is kind of weird. Like,
what if you don't want to stir the pot?
I
don't know.
I don't understand her reasoning, and I really don't care. The bottom line really is that do we trust him? It goes into my world. I love this saying. It's binary. It's black or white, no gray. Do we trust him? Yes or no? You absolutely would. You could walk down the aisle with anybody and you'd be fine. You're not going anywhere. You're not drifting.
Yeah. We get it.
Okay. Amy has a guy that she dated years ago. The two of them who I know, both of them, the bottom line is she could be very cheap. He can be very, very frugal. And they go once a year to a conference looking at jewelry because that's their business. The point is she goes, do you care if I share a room? I said, I could give a shit because I trust her.
Here's where I think you can have all the trust in the world for your partner and truly mean it and believe it. But I think there comes a point where you also don't need to keep getting shit on by someone. And I think there's a thing here where maybe this isn't the time to stir the pot. But if there's someone that keeps disrespecting your relationship, you get to a point where you're tired of getting shit on.
Well, then she
And
should
then
have
you
a
need to
conversation.
ask yourself, if he's not willing to advocate for you and there is this level of disrespect, one might interpret it that way. One could say, Morgan, you're being crazy. This isn't a big deal. But for me, this would start to feel a little purposeful. She trying to wiggle her way back in. What's going on here? And it doesn't matter. Like, there comes a time where there should be a basic level of respect. You're now dealing with this friend group. Everyone's in it. Don't keep shitting on me. Don't keep
In an
trying to
ideal
weasel your way
world,
in. But make your life an ideal world.
What happens?
can't control her.
What happened?
But you can control.
What happens
your-
if she's really not shitting on him? Wait a minute. What happens if she's really not shitting on him? Or shitting on her? That this is just her interpretation.
Why does she want to walk down the aisle with her ex-boyfriend?
Who knows?
They might be friends and they may have some fun. Maybe
Make friends with a new groomsman. This is where we're going to agree to disagree. And I don't know. Like, for me, this feels a little purposeful. And maybe it's because I know women a little better than you guys. And I think girls can be a little malicious sometimes. And this feels too purposeful. This doesn't feel like an innocent, I want to walk down the aisle with Charlie.
Okay. let me help you.
I don't like it.
Let me help you with your argument. Okay. Here's your argument. I know there's people in my life that accepts the fact that I have a girlfriend, but in their own, they always, there's a little cynicism in their comments to me, and I don't like it. And I point blank have said, I don't like it. So I've stepped up and said, not interested in that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's also, but I myself can tell when that's going on. I don't know from her view what she's seeing to what he is seeing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of this is we got to really find out from him. She needs to ask him: Does he see it as just fun and play, or does he see something that's really being disrespectful to me? Because if you see that she's being disrespectful to me, I would hope that you would, not allow that to happen if you
Yes.
care for me. That part I get.
That's what's like annoying for me. And the bottom line, if she can take him, you don't want him. Like, if something happens on this bachelorette trip, you don't want him. Like, truly, if she can take him, let her. You don't want him.
Absolutely.
But if he's kind of just like turning a blind eye to disrespect, that's where I'd kind of get annoyed and be like, hey, like, this is your friend. I would appreciate if you would just say, like, hey, I'm with my girlfriend. I really love her. Like, could you cool it? Like, it's just kind of annoying. Like, I just, like, it would bother me if Justin had a girlfriend, like, truly a girlfriend. And even if they had never had a past, if he had a girlfriend that was super flirty and touching him all the time, no matter if I trust him, it's still annoying and feels disrespectful to me.
Now I got a question for you.
Okay.
What happens if she's really not behaving to the limit that she is seeing, but she's interpreting it as that? Anybody else would say, because I don't want her to be a jealous girlfriend.
No, and our imaginations can sabotage and get the best of us.
Because of her, if her imagination is sabotaging her, she may have just screwed up from her own insecurity.
100% self-sabotage, yeah.
A great guy. So you need to weigh out really, is she really being disrespectful to you? Or is she just being a friend that they've had history? They're friends, they can enjoy each other, but not have any future together. And that's really where you kind of have to make your own determination. But I would not be...
Don't be the paranoid, jealous girlfriend, but at the same time, like, you can have these open conversations with
you
your
can
partner.
you can look at him and say, I just want to ask you a question. If you at all see it where it's just disrespectful to me, I would hope that you would step up and say, this is disrespectful to Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And I think that's the best way to proceed forward, probably, without stirring the pot. And, if he doesn't want to ask to walk down the aisle with someone else, like, let them do what they're going to do. Do I think it's weird? Yeah. But that's
Can
me.
we agree that we agree on something besides disagreeing?
I think we agreed on that to have the conversation.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really want to hear other people's opinions because I'm sitting here with two boys and
Excuse me, I'm not a
boys
boy.
don't get it.
I am a man.
Sometimes dudes don't get it.
I'm your freaking father.
But as soon as it was flipped, it would be like, oh no, it's all fine.
No, if I had an ex-boyfriend, like if I had this situation and my ex-boyfriend was like, I want to walk down the aisle with Morgan, I'd be like, why?
All right. Well, I want to thank you for enjoying the show with us. That was number 5, by the way.
It was.
Not number 6, not number 4. And we look for you to come back in about 3 minutes. Pop on over to Patreon and let's continue the fun.
Keep the party going.
So we haven't said this a lot. And I really, when I watch TV and I hear, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, sometimes I find it crazy, but do me a favor, just because we do enjoy doing the show and we do like the fact that we see the acknowledgement. Please hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, it helps us out.
It does. So let's roll on. Good night.
Bye.
See you next week. Hey guys, before you run away, we just finished our Patreon and it was very funny. And I don't think I just can't believe you're going to want to miss this. So definitely take a little dip.
Yeah. The problem is serious, but dad's got some jokes. So in order to maybe entice you a little bit, we had to share this punny one.
I thought she was going to cut it all out. She says, no, we're not cutting it out.
Nothing is getting cut. We are letting this one air raw. Enjoy.
Bye.
5 minutes later.
We got a juicy one.
A juicy one.
Oh my gosh.
Is it like a juicy one, like a 3-inch steak?
It's very
like a Chateaubriand.
It's very sexual in nature. So
there's meat involved.
Oh God. Oh my God.